This update will break Rise of Nations. So basically I was trying to make a normal video where I played in the new meta without defense and everything. And then I see this. Minor update again. He just calls it a minor update for some reason. Why do you keep... This is not minor at all. Okay, now let's get this out of the way. We got some new formables. That doesn't matter really. But this is where it gets interesting. The internal market. You can now sell resources to your own internal market within the country for a small percentage, 15%, of the resource base value. You can also get minor modifiers that scale with how much you are selling to your internal market relative to the internal resources demand. What does this mean? Let me break it down for you. So imagine you're the Soviet Union and you've got a lot of resources and you want to make some factories. So now you've got a lot of consumer goods, and obviously you won't really have this amount of consumer goods very early into the game, but for the sake of just making it easier to test, you have a lot of consumer goods and you want to sell it to other countries because you want to make fast money, and you realize that you can't. Well, if you go to trade, you can see you have the internal market here. Now, if we go back to HYPERANT's message, if you see the internal market, it just says that you can sell resources to your own market. But the difference is that you can only sell it for 15% of the resource base value. So obviously, one consumer good being sold to a different country will be worth way more than selling one consumer good to your own country. But the difference is that sometimes you just cannot sell to other countries. And so you can still get some money out of it if you sell to your own internal market. And the best part is that you can actually get some minor modifiers that scale with how much you're selling to your internal market relative to the internal resource demand. So obviously all of these provide modifiers that give you good stuff if you sell to your own internal market. Now the issue is that you've got a lot of consumer goods, like 2.3 thousand, which there's no way you'll be able to sell to other countries. So if you make enough and you sell to yourself 2.3 thousand, you're gonna be getting 22 million, which is obviously way less than normal. But if you go here, see, you're getting 22 million extra. Now obviously I'm the Soviet Union, I've got max research, I've got communism, I've got everything that I need to make a really good economy. Actually, I can even get more policies like the Public Service Act. And let's also ignore safety regulations. And you see we're making 400 more consumer goods now as well. And now if I keep making on more and more factories and just keep spamming factories, because clearly I'm the Soviet Union and I've got everything I need. And now, as you can see, I've clearly spammed a lot of civilian factories, but I did this just to get the story straight here. Now look, I'm earning 766 million because I'm selling a lot of consumers, to be exact, almost 70,000 consumer goods to myself. So basically, with this update, you can sell infinite resources to yourself and still get money, which is interesting because I feel like if it is truly infinite, you can technically get infinite amounts of money as long as you have cities where you can build factories on. And now if we sell all of that, we're earning 1.6 billion. And now the interesting part is that you can sell as much as you want, from what I can tell. I mean, if you can sell under 60,000, then there's clearly not a cap. This is really broken. Obviously, in a normal game, you will not be able to sell this much right at the beginning. But let's just say that it is kind of broken. I do like the HYPERANT made the internal market, like as in the idea is really good. Like if you go back here, it says the following resources provide modifiers, and all of these, if you sell them to your internal market, you will get something in return. Now look, I'm only selling 10 uranium to myself. I'm already getting aircraft carrier upkeep minus fuel efficiency, naval upkeep, and research output. Now obviously that's not the only one. Tungsten grants tank attack. Steel grants develop city cost, infrastructure cost, and naval upkeep. Phosphate grants artillery attack. Motor grants develop city cost, infrastructure cost, tank upkeep. Iron grants factory output. Gold grants develop city cost. Fertilizer grants manpower increase. Electronics gives research output, develop city education spending cost. Diamond grants tanks income and develop city cost. Chromium gives factory output. Aluminum gives develop city and infrastructure. And aircraft gives air upkeep. So yeah, I really do like this part. Now I'm selling an extra 100,000 electronics. I'm making 4.2 billion. And now if we go to the North American Union, I've given all of the Americas to North American Union, and they're all core cities as well. So I'm trying to see how much money I can get off of just democracy and tax collection and all that stuff on this, and compare it to the Soviet Union. And now if we look here, it's the North American Union is only making 1.7 billion off of almost 700 million population, which is fully cored and fully developed. It's got max taxation, and it's also got a couple policies like tax reform and improve infrastructure. But that's besides the point. This North American Union, with way more population than the Soviet Union, is making 1.7 billion after developing everything and after having full technology on taxation and everything, while the Soviet Union in itself, selling its own resources and own factories and whatnot to itself, is making 4.2 billion. And now I know that you're probably saying, okay, well, you did this by using the console, you made a lot, you gave yourself a lot of money and resources. But here's a screenshot that Amanda's took of being able to get 560 million with only the Soviet Union's resources. Now I also want to try experimenting with Cuba in an actual game and see how far the internal market actually gets me. Alright, so now we're in Cuba. Now the idea is to sort of take out all these little cities, get some money out of those to be able to afford building more factories. And so right now I'm getting a lot of trades done. I'm basically gonna plan to only fund myself for the time being through all these little islands. Get a lot of money, build a lot of factories with all the money. And I also need to mention that I'm not gonna be selling any resources to foreign countries because the whole point of this test is to try and get as much money just from internal market. There we go, we're kind of making 461 right now. And I can already get 5 million off of just our internal market. I'm earning 14 million from Cuba alone. And obviously, you have to remember that I'm actually doing this pretty slowly since this is literally my first and only time I've done this. The only issue with this strategy is that tungsten is really hard to come by. Phosphate is also really hard to come by, so it really... That is what makes it difficult, is that you constantly have to keep up with buying resources constantly because you're going to run out. Now here we are, we're making 33 million by 2021. Also, do not forget, forced labor for dissidents is also really good because you only get to lose population, which in this strategy, it really doesn't matter. And with that one policy, I'm already getting way more consumer goods. Now, if you can see, I'm making 50 million right now. There we go, we're making 80 million and it's not even 2022 yet. And this could keep scaling. I mean, I'm getting a little bit of research power and I'm getting closer to factory output 4, which will be an absolutely massive bump as well. And there we go, I'm selling 10,000, I'm making 100 million off of just trades. And it's funny because a country like Cuba is already ahead of Turkey in the rankings, and we all know how much the country rankings favors population. So yeah, I think this is a pretty decent economy to get. And now, I want to give my final thoughts. I think this update is really cool. I think this update is so nice that you can sell stuff like tungsten and steel and whatnot to get special modifiers. I think it is a little bit broken right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if HYPERANT was to go out and nerf this instantly. Like, I mean, it is pretty crazy how you can get 15 billion treasury as Cuba by 2023. And not only that, but I got it pretty slowly as well. I think I could have done way better. But yeah, I feel like this is so easy to get money really quickly. You also need to remember that if you want to get money really fast in this way, then your whole early game will just be you trying to get as many factories and trying to hoard as much resources as you can. And then you're only going to be able to start playing legitimately later on. I don't know, to be honest, I feel like this update should really stay. But I feel like if HYPERANT was looking to maybe make this a little bit more balanced, then I think HYPERANT should cap the internal market. But yeah, I think that's it for my final thoughts. Alright, thank you so much for watching and bye.